Several officers that were injured, several officers shot. It's a terrible situation.
The standoff lasted for approximately 2 hours. The suspect is now in custody.
It's pretty crazy because, I've never experienced anything like this before. Never. You always see it on the news, but you wouldn't really think it would happen in your city.
And we were just wrapping up for the day when we found out about what happened, and we knew we needed to be here and we knew we needed to respond.
I would ask that you please put these families of these officers in your prayers. Please lift them up.
I can only echo the sentiments of the sheriff and ask for, at this particular time, the prayers of every human being who knows the Lord Jesus Christ to pray for these officers.
We begin tonight with breaking news coverage of the fatal Florence County police shootings. 7 law enforcement officers were shot this afternoon, 3 deputies and 4 City of Florence police officers. One of those officers died from his wounds, while others are in critical condition. A 20-year-old civilian was also shot. All of this happened as officers were trying to serve a warrant today. It was an active shooter situation that unfolded over 2 hours, with the gunshots lasting some 45 minutes today. And when it was all over, a suspect was taken into custody. The Florence police officer who died in the line of duty has been identified as 52-year-old Terrence Carraway, who lived in Darlington. He had just received his 30-year service pin from the department. Again, he died en route to the hospital. News 19 is covering this story at every angle tonight as information unfolds. We have crews talking with residents in the area and a timeline of events as the shooting happened. We're going to check in with them coming up in a few moments. As the details continue to come in, there are still a lot of unanswered questions tonight. We're going to play a portion of tonight's press conference so you're all caught up. The first person you're going to hear from is Florence County Sheriff Kenny Boone, followed by Florence Police Chief Alan Heidler.
You never know when you leave your home if you're going to return home. A lot of the officers don't get the respect that they deserve. This situation's hit home. We've had several officers that were injured, several officers shot. It's a terrible situation. Richland County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Leon Lott, I called him. Richland County's working crime scene, also their lab, and we have peer support from Charleston County, Sheriff Cannon, and also Leaf, Eric Skidmore. So there's going to be a lot of officers going to need counseling that were there when the incident occurred. These officers went there unknowing the firepower this suspect had. And again, they thought it was a random search warrant. But when they arrived, gunfire started. Several officers were hit. And I want to thank Florence Police Department. Those guys were they were minutes away and assisted us as well. You know, it's great when you do have that relationship with other officers and other agencies that you call in for help, and we can work as one entity. I would ask that you please put these families of these officers in your prayers. Please lift them up. The victims in this case need all the help and support we can give them. We're going to make sure they're taken care of. And I would ask you, please, those who live in Vintage Place, bear with us. We know this chaotic. We realize that what's going on, they don't understand. But I ask that you please bear with us. And any additional information would probably have to come from Sheriff Lott, Richland County Sheriff's Office, who is assisting us as far as the crime scene and the investigation is concerned. Please lift up this family, because they need it. You know, these officers witnessed something and seeing their fellow officers stuff down. Fire was being shot all over. The way the suspect was positioned, his view of fire was several hundred yards. So he had an advantage. And the officers couldn't get to the ones that's down. But thanks to, our MRAP, Armored Personnel Carrier, we made sure that all the officers that we shot were protected and brought for medical attention. But as far as the investigation, probably need to turn that over to Sheriff Lott. They worked this particular case as well, and just keep our officers and our agencies in your prayers.
Ladies and gentlemen, please bear with me as this has been an absolutely horrendous evening and an emotional evening. Today will mark a very horrific day in the annals of the Florence Police Department. Today we lost a good friend of mine, an officer that I've known for 30 years. We have 3 other officers at this particular time who are receiving attention at this hospital. I can only echo the sentiments of the sheriff and ask for, at this particular time, the prayers of every human being who knows the Lord Jesus Christ to pray for these officers. They were responding to the scene of an incident where they knew that their brothers from the sheriff's office, their brothers and sisters from the sheriff's office were in need, as we all do, and they do for us. I want to thank this community for reaching out already. I want to thank all of my brothers and sisters in blue from around this country who are already reaching out. We will take care of our family, because this is my family. These officers are my family. We will take care of them, and we will take care of their loved ones. But I want you to please pray for these officers and their speedy recovery. Pray for the family who lost the bravest police officer that I have ever known.
Well, you heard Sheriff Boone there say that Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott would lead the investigation into what happened today. A short time ago, I spoke with the sheriff by phone, and I asked him how his agency became the lead investigative department.
We were asked by the Florence County Sheriff to come give assistance on it. We have some highly trained investigators and our forensic lab, and so we have a shooting team that's been trained to handle multiple shootings like this, and so we were asked to come in and help do the investigation. The main thing now is taking care of those who have been shot and making sure that their families are taken care of, and the officers that's been shot are taken care of, and the Florence authorities there, the county and the city. This is a tragic day for them, so we have to address their needs. So it's too preliminary right now to go into any details.
Whenever law enforcement is injured, social media always lights up with people showing support. The situation is no different, as lots of agencies showing solidarity with their fellow sheriff's deputies and officers. We do have several reporters in that area tonight getting information for us. We're going to begin with Jenna Krazina. She is in Florence County tonight with more details. Jenna, good evening.
Good evening, JR. And as you mentioned earlier, we do know that one officer was killed, and the identity of that officer was confirmed from the confirmed from the coroner, and he was with the Florence City Police Department. We were told that was Terrence Carraway, and like you said, he was a 30-year-old veteran with that agency, and 6 others had been injured in that shooting. I'm outside of McLeod Hospital right now, where we know some of them are being treated. And the shooting occurred after investigators attempted to serve a search warrant at home, and details are still limited at this time, but the suspect continued to fire at the officers, who other officers who responded to the scene to assist the wounded law enforcement. More than one officer with Florence City Police Department was shot. It took the use of a bullet-resistant vehicle to evacuate and transport those wounded officers here and to get treatment. And we were told that the suspect remained barricaded in the home with a child at the time before the suspect did surrender. For right now, we did know that the standoff lasted about 2 hours, but both the Florence County Sheriff's Department and Police Department say this has been an extremely difficult day for them.
We know that at times this is a dangerous and difficult job, but our deputies readily and bravely accept that challenge. So we ask for your prayers for the wounded and their families, and we ask for your respect for their privacy during this time.
And there is still no updated information on the other officers that have been injured and the conditions on them. As you mentioned earlier, the suspect is in custody, and we will continue to update you guys on the latest as we get more of that information. Live in Florence County, Jenna Corzina, News 19 WLTX. JR.
All right, Jenna, thank you so very much. We should add tonight that the mayor of Florence is telling us that several of the officers are in serious condition tonight, and that is the latest update that we have on those officers at this hour.